So, yeah, thank you. Sorry, the YouTube people. If ever it stops, if ever YouTube stops, just give me a second. I'll reconnect it and we'll go to the next. It'll be on the same channel. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is parshat shmos. So the pre-tzaddik, which is we're trying to do this. I'm saying Belina that we did it for the whole book of Bereshit. So I'm very proud of us. And now we're going to start. We'll see if we can do this for shmos. We learn the first piece in the pre-tzaddik. It's not a hard piece. Usually, some of the lessons are very difficult. This is an easy one. And he talks about why did Hashem call the name of the book Shmos names when, according to the Medrash, this is the book of Matan Torah. This is the book, the second book of the Torah, describes how we received the Torah, how the build-up of we were in Egypt, we were slaves in Egypt, we were purified by that slavery, and then we left Egypt with big miracles. We came to Har Sinai, Mount Sinai, and we accepted and received the Torah for the Jewish people and really for the entire world. That's the main teaching of the book of Shmos, according to the Medrash. And then afterwards are the beginnings of the laws that the Torah is giving us. So the Torah, so Reb Tzadok says, what does it have to do with Shmos, names? Generally, the name of, like, if you look at all of the names of the books, they're all connected to the essence of the book, right? Bereshit is the beginning of the creation of the universe. Vayikra is all about how Hashem speaks to the Jewish people in the Mishkan, in the Beis Hamikdash. Midbar is telling us all the different things, the adventures that happened, the 40 years in the desert, and Devarim is the repetition of the entire Torah, all the words. So what does Shmos have to do with anything? So he says something very, very amazing. He says that there's a medrash that says there's 600,000 Jewish males. The Chumash says 600,000 Jewish male souls stood by Har Sinai, and there's 600,000 letters in the Torah, one for one. Now we all know that if you count the letters in the Torah, you do not get 600,000. You get 323,000. I forgot the exact number. If you count all the letters in the Torah, and so Reb Tzadok says like this. He says, and there were only 600,000 men. But what about their wives and their children? There were millions and millions. Each one had at least one wife and at least two children, right? So there were millions and millions of Jews. So why talk about the number 600,000? So he explains like this. He explains that there are 600,000 primary souls, and there are 600,000 primary letters in the Torah, because some of the letters are composite. For example, the letter Aleph, if you look at the letter Aleph, it's really two Yuds connected by a Vav in the middle. Think about a printed Aleph. It's a Yud reaching upward and a Yud reaching downward, and a Vav, a slanted Vav in the middle that's connecting them. And so they're composite letters. So if you figure out, now if you do all of those, you get more than 600,000. You don't get 600,000. But Reb Tzadok says like this. He says that every single, because we don't know if you're going to count every composite letter as a three, let's say the Aleph, the first Aleph in Bereshit, right? Is that counted as 3 letters? Is it counted as 4 letters? Means is it counted as an Aleph and also as a Vav and a Yud and a Yud? We don't know that configuration. But what we do know, and this is what his point is that every single Jewish root soul is connected to a letter in the Torah. That's exciting because each one of us, all of us have a soul, right? All of us have a soul. And so, and we don't know until Mashiach comes, until the beginning of the Torah of Mashiach comes into the world. Mashiach begins to teach, and then he'll reveal to each person, what's their letter? What's their word? What's your parsha? Could you imagine? Now listen, there are some people whose letter is the ayin of Amalek, or the bet of Bilam, or the chaf of Knani. Like, what happens if you get a letter like that? Now that letter is intrinsic and necessary for the Torah. And if that letter, if the ayin of Amalek was missing, the whole Torah would be puzzle. That particular Sefer Torah would be not usable if the letter Ayin of the word Amalek. Amalek is the arch enemy. The nation called Amalek is the representation of the nation of the people who are the most anti-God in the universe, in the world. So could you imagine? We wouldn't be upset if the word Amalek was missing from the Torah, because we don't want Amalek. But it's going to be in the Torah, and it's there in the Torah. And could you imagine if your letter is in the word Amalek or any of those negative words? Lo tirtzach, don't murder. Could you imagine? Let's say your letter is the resh of tirtzach. I have two reshes in my name. That would be pretty scary. But it would also answer many, many, many questions about the particular Yetzer Hara that each person has, and the particular job that the person has to fulfill the positive aspect of that letter. So Rebbe says, Reb Tzadok says, every single Jewish person has a letter, and every single Jewish person, each of these letters is a letter in the Torah. Not just a letter in the Aleph Beit, but a letter in the Torah. And he says that's the big scene. But then in particular, every single one of us has a soul root in Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, and all the tribes in the tribes that I mentioned here, the 12 tribes that I mentioned here. Every one of us has a soul root in that tribe. And not just that, but the Zohar says something amazing. He says, even though we have a lot of, listen, we just came out of the book of Bereshis where they sold Yosef Atzadik. And who sold him? The Shvatim. His brother sold him into slavery. It was a terrible, terrible mistake. But so we sometimes look at all the tribes and we look at them like, hey, like, where were you and what were you thinking? But Reb Tzadok says that every single tribe had a particular kedusha. The reason that they sold Yosef Atzadik was many, many different reasons. One of them was because Hashem orchestrated it. Hashem needed and wanted Yosef Atzadik to go through what he went through so that he could become the person he had to become. That's Mashiach ben Yosef, who goes through so many nisyonot and so much hardships. Hashem should already relieve him. So every one of the tribes had a special, unique kedusha. And he says, Reuven had the kedushat ha'inayim, because his name was to see. And Shimon had kedushas ha'oznayim. He had the holiness of listening. And so each of them had a different kedusha based on their name. And each one of us has a root soul within the names, not just the letters in the entire Torah. Like you have your particular letter in a particular word, and every one of us has difference. But in addition to that, we also have something to do with each of the tribes. And so each of the tribes is actually a different manifestation of the Torah. And so the fact that it's called shmot, names, and it's the names of the tribes which appear again and again and again here in the Chumash Shmos, it comes to tell us that the names and the names of the Shvatim and the essence of them and the personality of them, all of that was the actual prerequisite for receiving the Torah on planet Earth. Because you can't receive the Torah if you don't exist. Hashem had to first make the Shvatim, the tribes, and then the Torah could be gifted to humanity. And so it's general, but it's very particular. It's very specific, because we have to begin to appreciate ourselves, and we have to begin to encourage ourselves, each person themselves. I mean, it's easy for me to encourage you, but it's very hard, each person to encourage themselves and say, wow, I'm special. And Hashem did something special in creating my soul. It's easy for you to say that to somebody else, but it's harder for righteous women to have such a strong self-image that they feel that they're something unique and special. But when you feel that you're something unique and special, then you could accomplish in this world. Until you feel that special power that you have, you don't accomplish what you can accomplish. And so shmot here, the point is that Hashem is giving into the Jewish people all the tchunot, all the positive character traits of each of the tribes, and because he created, and because each of them, Reuven works on his, because they all understood their names, right? Nowadays we give kids names based on the names in Tanakh, but these names they were made up by the mothers and by the fathers. And so they were each taught what their name meant and what the significance of their name was. So Reuven was taught that his life is about seeing, and Shimon was taught his name was about hearing, and Levi was taught his name was about connection, and Yehuda was taught his name was about saying thank you to Hashem, etc., etc., right? And so each of these things evoked from Hashem the same midah keneged midah. And all of this is, so we have 4 weeks, Shmos Va'era Bo B'Shalach, 4 weeks to build up to the receiving of the Torah. Then comes Yitro, the parshat of the receiving of the Torah. That's my birthday parsha. And Mishpatim, which is the amplification, the beginning of the amplification of all the laws in the book of in the Torah. And then we go from there. So that's a little bit about what Reb Tzadok says. He also says that all the healing is found in the Torah, and all the healing and the direction is found in your name. So each one of us, me and Rabbi Rachel, we share a name. Anybody else here share different names? There's another story here. So all of us have to look a lot into our own name. Look into the person that we're named, not the person we're named for, like your great-grandmother. Okay, I have an interesting similarity to my great-grandmother from the stories that they told me. I wish that I knew. I wish I had somebody now who could. Now that I'm more serious about, I wish I could learn more about her life. But from the one or two stories that they told me, I see a similarity. But that doesn't matter because I'm not the first that got her name. The first that got the name of the person is a stronger similarity. But really, really, to look in the Torah, look at the biblical roots of your name, and see what that's all about. So you're going to say, does that mean every Rachel in the world is the same? No, of course not. But every Rachel in the world at some point has similarities. Not at the same time, not all. Listen, Rachel Imenu's life was she had a lot of parts to her life. But each Rachel and each Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, each person who's biblical can look at the nature of the life of the person that's in the Torah and Tanakh and pull out from that strength. All right, sweetie pies. So now next week, I'm going to be busy with airport stuff, picking up from the airport. So I won't see you next week. Until then, who knows, maybe Mashiach will come. Maybe we'll have all kinds of good surprises. So we can stay in touch. Yeah? Thank you, Gitzi. Thank you, Masha Sar, for coming. Thank you, Rebbe Rachel. Thank you, Yehudas, for coming. Thank you, Davida, for coming. Thank you, Mindy, for coming. 1 second. I'm missing somebody. 1 second. Who am I missing? And Shoshana, thank you for coming. Good. And Mazel tov to our dear friend Golda Doniger, whose son became a chassan last night. Middle son.
Oh,
yeah, isn't that nice? Her son Nisan, Yehuda Nisan, became a chassan. She has a few more left, so we have to get them married also. Okay, sweeties, have a good day.
You too. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now, Gitzi, does your Zoom screen look different than normal?
My Zoom screen is on my phone right now.
Yeah, so mine is always on my phone, but it's a different Zoom screen.
Yeah, It's very different from my computer. Very, yes.
Right. But even
And that's
maybe
not used to it at all.
maybe that's why, because you're on your phone, so it made the whole share screen different. Yeah, could be.
Oh,
it was fun. It was fun. That's a very pretty color for you, Ebbets and Rachel. That pink is very pretty.
I wanted to ask you what happens if you have a Yiddish name. My name is Gitti.
So you don't have another name?
No.
Okay, so Yiddish names is good. So it's good. Gittel is good. It's Tov. It's like Tova. So you have to look at the word Tov. And the first time the word Tov is used in the Torah. Vayara Elokim et Or Ki Tov. The first time Tov is used in the Torah is about the Or Haganuz.
Instead of good. So Gid is part of Gittel.
Right.
That's how you do it with Yiddish names.
All right. I get benched, as they say.
Okay, bye everybody on YouTube. Sorry on the YouTube that the YouTube cut out, and I had to make this in 2 sections. And again, if it ever happens like that, so just right away I'll stop. If it might, it's the internet connection in my house. So if it ever happens like that again, and you see that I'm frozen, then just turn off or don't turn off. Just go back to the channel, and you'll see that I'll start a new class as soon as I can get type it in. Okay, bye everybody.